What's up, y'all? So I felt like I just wanted to share a bit of my perspective about Queen Elizabeth II's totally timely demise. Like, she was 96, and I think I definitely shared in the past. I'm just always, I understand grief and I understand sadness. I don't understand the shock when someone who has lived a very long and comfortable. I actually just don't. I mean, I understand sadness, but when my grandmother died, and my grandmother raised me, and she was an immense inspiration in my existence. And when she died, and I was by her bedside, I felt such gratitude for her life, and I felt sad, but I felt so grateful to have had her for as long as I had her. And it was such a clean grief, a grief that didn't have any residue of undone things. It didn't have any, I knew that she died the way that she wanted to, surrounded by her family who loved her and held her hand and sang her to the other side. And she led a phenomenally rich life. And so the pervasive feeling that I had was just a great joy and gratitude. And so, I always offer that as just a way to approach transition from this realm, particularly for people who, had a good long go at this particular ride. But here's the thing I actually want to say, right? Of course, I've been reading the memes. So I actually was in a restaurant last night with two British women, and I heard them I overheard them talking, and I was like, "Is the Queen dead?" And they were like, "Yes," and they were teared up, and I had the experience of, I was clear that we were not going to have the same approach about this experience, and they very much were experiencing it like their loving grandmother had died, and I could feel them veering into conversation that was going to have me further exacerbate their upset with my particular opinions. And so I just steered the conversation away, got the major details, and stopped talking to them, which was great. And the memes are hilarious. But here, and I'm not sharing this because you need to, I'm just sharing it because I feel like I'm not particularly vocal about my perspectives about death and spirituality and those sorts of things, and they have evolved over the years. I don't need to wish any ill to Queen Elizabeth. She, meaning the soul that is who came to this realm in the form of Queen Elizabeth and the personality of that particular person and all the institutions that it represents and all the harm that it's done, will have to account for that karmically in another lifetime. I don't need to wish anything to anybody. And I offer this to people, who are grounded in some sense of, ancestral connection, to people who are grounded in some sense of soul purpose, that have whatever feelings you have, absolutely. But I would invite you to consider that karma is real, right? However it is that we call it, or whatever language, right? The energetic reciprocity, right? The energetic boomerang that is what you throw out in the world will come back to you. And that you will, as a soul, have to account for those things and have to rectify them and have to learn your lessons. And you may not learn them in this lifetime. And, clearly there are ways in which she did not have to account for her role in a violent and heinous institution. She didn't have to account for that in this lifetime. But she will have to account for that. And I trust that lesson will be exactly what it's supposed to be. And so the energy of retribution, the energy of wishing people to hell, the energy, it's It's funny, don't get me wrong, I've laughed at all the memes. I have, they're hilarious. And the energy that I'm holding is, one, that everyone has a soul purpose. And sometimes that soul purpose is of a lower energy, is of the energy of creating harm and wreaking havoc in the world, right? Sometimes that's what people's souls choose. That's how they choose to learn, through power and domination and da 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 da. But they will have to account for that. And that accounting very well may look like them having to be the subject of the thing it was they created, right? That part's above my pay grade. But I know in my whole being that it does me no good to wish ill to anybody, because that too is my own karmic retribution. And I'm just not interested in having to come back here and live an account for things that I totally could have been responsible for in this lifetime. And I trust the universe. Like, I trust that the energetic reciprocity, right, is going to make itself known. I trust in the energy of right relationship, which means that if you were not in right relationship this go around, you're going to have to fix that. And so, yeah, that's where I am as it relates to this particular subject. And, I do hope that her death is indeed, I hope, we're just going to stay with I hope, that her death is the beginning of an unraveling of that centuries-old institution that purports that some people were just born to dominate other people, just born to rule over, oppress, and harm other people. I hope that her death is a representation of an evolution out of that particular way of being for us as a species, such that we enter into higher and higher perspectives energetically that mean we don't have to do that type of stuff anymore. Right? That's what I'm hoping this represents. Yeah, in the meantime, the memes are hilarious. And I had to stop and think earlier today, right? Like the level of impact, right? I was born in America because of the monarchy, right? When the U.S., which was not the U.S., started bringing enslaved Africans, it was a British colony run by the monarchy. And so my ancestors were stolen by the monarchy, are stolen, or at least the beginnings of that experience were embedded in the monarchy. And so there are a multitude of humans around the globe who will meet the death of this woman who was a symbol of an institution with the energy that they have toward that institution. Which to me also says, like, what institutions are you representing? Because when you die, that's who people are going to engage with. If they didn't know you personally, they're going to engage with the institution you represented. And so make sure you're on the right institutional side of history. That's my thought. All right, y'all. Bye.